What do you think of when you hear the word Holocaust? Do you think of forgiveness? No? I'm not surprised. One survivor of not just the Holocaust, but of Auschwitz and Dr. Mengelé's experimentation, Ava Moses Kor, has quite literally lived through hell. However, she has personally taken the unprecedented action of publicly forgiving Dr. Mengele and all the Nazis for their torturous and murderous actions during World War II. Knowing this, fellow survivors of Auschwitz and Dr. Mengelé's experimentation have condemned her, which leads to the question, what is forgiveness, and why should you do it? The answer may shock you. Forgiveness is a selfish act, not a selfless one. During this speech, I will first tell you of Ava Moses Kor's story about her time at Auschwitz and then her personal decision to forgive. Then I will discuss forgiveness, what it is not according to the definition, how experts view it, and why forgiveness is a selfish act and not selfless from what I have learned from research and study on this subject. Ava is one of 4 children who was deported with her family to Auschwitz in the spring of 1944, according to a speech that she gave at the Kaiser Wilhelm Institute's Symposium on Biomedical Sciences and Human Experimentation in 2001. When they arrived at Auschwitz, the twins were separated from their entire family, and unfortunately, the entire family except the twins died there. She and her twin sister Miriam were taken to Dr. Mengelé's hospital to become part of the genetic experimentation. These genetic experiments were traumatic for all the twins involved, ages 1 to 13 years old. In a documentary about her experience and her decision to forgive entitled Forgiving Dr. Mengele, she recounts nearly dying after the doctor personally injected her with an unknown bacteria. She states that none of the doctors working the experiment were there to heal her. At 10 years old, and after being injected with an unknown bacterium, she knew she had to heal herself. As she states, she was given no food, no water, and no medicine, and if she didn't survive, her sister Miriam would be instantly killed in order to perform simultaneous autopsies in order to compare the corpse's reaction to the bacteria. Ava crawled out of bed and crawled to the other end of the hospital unit, periodically losing consciousness in order to reach life-saving water. The German weekly news magazine, Der Spiegel, wrote an article about Ava Moses Kor's experience at Auschwitz, as well as the experimentation that was published in 2005. The article discusses the experiments and states that over 1,400 pairs of twins suffered at the hands of Dr. Mengele. A picture seen in the documentary shows the liberation of Auschwitz and the twins being freed from their prison by a female Russian guard. Ava can be seen walking to her freedom front and center. Ava is able to freely discuss her time while in the camp. She recalls the details of her torture, but remarkably, she still chooses to forgive. She explains in her speech that she made the decision to forgive in order to once again heal herself. She states that carrying the weight of the past is not good, and that not forgiving only hurts you. Ava goes on to say that we must learn to heal ourselves, and that we must help our people learn to heal their aching souls. How could someone who has suffered so much loss and physical pain at the hands of others make the decision to forgive? To understand this, we must review the definition of forgiveness and compare and contrast it to our understanding of forgiveness. Merriam-Webster's dictionary defines forgiveness as giving up the resentment or of claims for requital, to grant relief from payment, or to cease to feel resentment for. Are you surprised? Many people believe to forgive means to excuse bad behavior of someone else or condone the bad behavior of someone else by overlooking it. According to an article written by Norvin Richards in a journal called Ethics, the definition of forgiveness goes farther than just giving up resentment. He states that the sum total of the act of forgiveness is to release all negative feelings regarding the incident. By definition, forgiveness does not mean allowing a murderer to go free without punishment. Forgiveness does not mean allowing someone who has hurt you to escape consequences. It does not mean giving up your self-respect or that you are weak in character. Mahatma Gandhi claims that the weak can never forgive. Forgiveness is an attribute of the strong. By forgiving, you must be strong enough to let the pain of the past go so that you can heal yourself, as Ava states. Forgiving is a survival mechanism, an act of a person looking to live life to the fullest without allowing things in the past to hold you back. Because it is an act of survival, forgiveness moves from the realm of selfless to selfish. There is scientific research that supports the claim that forgiveness is for the victim rather than the perpetrator. According to the research conducted by Gail Reed and Robert Enright and published in the Journal of Consulting and Clinical Psychology, forgiveness therapy is an excellent technique to help alleviate post-traumatic stress, depression, and anxiety, and other negative psychological outcomes. According to the article, this is achieved by banishing all negative thoughts and replacing them with positives instead. Joanna North, in an article published in the Philosophy Journal, states that forgiving is a process and that this process can be achieved through following some helpful tips. She recommends refusing to dwell upon the past, getting rid of negative thoughts and replacing them with positives, and remembering good times, not bad. North believes that through this process, though not immediately, but eventually forgiveness will come by bringing about a change of heart. By doing this, you effectively take possession of your life, of your emotions. You are in charge of how you feel and what possesses you. Thus, take your life back from the wrongdoer by forgiving. In summary, forgiveness isn't easy and it isn't for the weak. Ava Moses Cord forgave because she was a survivor and still is. She lived through one of the worst periods in human history to tell her story of forgiveness. She chose to forgive rather than to dwell on the pain of the past. She did not allow her past to rob her of her present or her future. She banished the negative thoughts to dwell on the positive found in her life today. I will close with a direct quote from Ava from her speech that she gave at the Kaiser Wilhelm Institute. I hope in some small way to send the world a message of peace, a message of forgiveness, a message of hope, and a message of healing. Thank you for listening.